Good evening, folks, and welcome to this regular meeting of the Montoursville Area School District Board of Directors on this Flag Day, Tuesday, June 14th, 2022. The time is 7:04 p.m. And Secretary, would you call the roll?
Mr. Albert.
Here.
Mr. Badger.
Here.
Dr. Berry. I believe she's on the phone. Thank you. Dr. LaCrone.
Here.
Dr. Mathers.
Here.
Mr. Schimmel.
Here.
Mr. Snell.
Here.
Mr. Ulmer.
Here.
And Mr. Young.
Here. I would invite all those present to rise and join me in the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
In a little bit of housekeeping, we do have an addition we'll make to the prior presentation, even though it isn't strictly speaking about a prior presentation, but it is a presentation from Meg Altabrando that we are very interested in hearing about. So we'll do that after Pastor Shimko's presentation. With that, then we'll move to the any other recognitions and presentations that administration and our youth representative might have for us.
I've been sleeping the last 2 weeks. I have nothing.
All right. Okay. Hearing nothing, then we'll move forward. We have reading of the minutes, and I guess at this time I'll make note too that we had an executive session this evening for personnel and a security and safety report, as well as received our annual safety report and meeting in that regard. We also had an executive session prior to May 24 meeting for personnel and a contractual item. And then we also have before us tonight the May 10th regular meeting minutes to approve and the May 24th work session minutes to approve. So with all of that, do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second. Any correction or anything like that?
Yes. The board minutes for May 10th, page 8, I'm sorry, page 5. It has me voting yes and no. And as far as I'm concerned, I only voted one way.
Probably right.
Probably not.
And
We'll get it.
Which motion? Was that G motion or what was that?
That was P3.
P3, all right. All right, so P3 needs corrected to, I don't
I'll
have
get
it.
him taken
No.
out of, yeah.
All right, I forget what that was. That was a long time ago.
Sorry, that
Okay.
was just, it got missed in.
Okay, so we have that correction. Anything else? All right, then not hearing anything else, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. So now we'll move forward then with the prior presentations, and Pastor Shimko is here.
Let us pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we conclude another school year at Montoursville Area School District, and we're reminded of your faithfulness through the good and bad times. It's been a difficult and trying year for some, whether it be academics, making friends, dealing with bad decisions, and even some tragedies. However, for some, it's been a tremendous year of new beginnings and dreams fulfilled. The anticipation of starting kindergarten, making new friends, completing that project or scoring well on that test, graduating and having the satisfaction of completing many years of education. God, you've been there throughout it all. So God, we acknowledge you were there in the beginning, and we began this journey last September, and you are here with us now in the end. And we thank you for your continued protection of our school district, and we pray that during the coming months, as our students, faculty, staff, and administrators enjoy the summer break with new activities and areas of focus, they will know how much they are loved and cared for, not only by you, but by each of these board members. We acknowledge the students are the reason we're here, and we're grateful you have chosen us with this opportunity to make a difference in our students' lives so that our world might be a better place. May you continue to grant us grace when we lose sight of your purpose. Continue to remind us of your presence daily throughout our coming and going. And we pray all these things in the name which is above all other names, which is Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. At this time now, Meg and your team, whoever's with you.
Stephanie Beadle.
Hey, hi, Steph.
Sorry, thanks for letting us crash this evening. We
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
We appreciate it.
Well, I have a special announcement, and then Stephanie is much more eloquent in speaking than I am. And I'm really proud to announce the Montoursville Area School District was awarded a $500,000 PA Smart Advancing Grant in conjunction with the River Valley YMCA Invention Lane Education and oh my gosh, I knew Envision Ed Plus. See, that's why she speaks like that. But I'm just so pleased for our district, and we're so proud to present that to you this evening. While Stephanie's explaining to you, Invention Lane's a big part of it. That's going to be in part with our district, where the Envision Ed Plus is going to be more part of the River Valley after-school program. That's going to provide curriculum and instruction through that and professional development. But I just have some photocopies here that give you a little bit more information about their programs, and I'll let Stephanie explain a little bit more.
Thanks. She did a pretty good job summarizing what we're going to do. This was a very quick labor of love. They announced the PA Smart Grants in late December, early January, and had about a 6-week turnaround to get your application in, which was not a very fast time. However, Meg and I have been keeping an eye on it since we got awarded the PA Targeting Smart Grant when they very first rolled them out in 2019. And we had applied right before COVID hit, and then they shut everything down, so applications kind of went in the garbage. So we had a place to start, and thankfully a good working relationship and a relationship with the YMCA. And we reached back out to them and asked if they would want to partner with us. We're under a crunch, we're under a deadline. And they were able to get us in touch with the right people, and we reached out to Invention Land Education, who Meg had made contact with through one of her professional developments, and she kept that relationship alive. And through having those opportunities to reach out to our community and for our professional development, we were able to secure a really solid foundation to push our STEM and computer science program forward in a uniform fashion. We've not to toot our own horns, but we've been working really hard and trying to build this program from the ground up, and it was me for a short amount of time all by myself, and thank God she reached out and was like, I'm curious about what you're doing. So we've been able to work really hard, and with Paula Palizzi down at the elementary level, we were to get lots of support from K through 8, and through your dedication to wanting to build a STEM and computer science program, we have felt secure and able to move forward. And now we have enough to back us to do way more professional development beyond just the two of us, to give our students K through 8, not just while they're in school, but in the after-school programs that we house in our buildings and at the Y over summer, that we are going to be reaching students throughout the entire valley, not just our students, and be able to tell them this is what Montoursville has to offer. So we're very excited to give more information as we build the program and as we meet with our partners. This information was just released at 1:30 today, so it caught us a little off guard. It was supposed to be announced in April. Here we are. So we will keep you all informed as we progress and move forward, but we were very excited to get the news today and wanted to share it with you.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Thanks for your support.
Thank you for your support.
Mr. President, may I just add, ladies, I know we crunched some numbers today, but what's the total amount of grants that you've secured roughly since you've started?
Well, with this one obviously makes it like a lot, but
We would be secure in saying $650,000 to $700,000 worth of materials and development that we've been able to secure for the district.
Yes.
For the board and members of the public, One of the things we do every year, this is always fun budget time, as you're gonna talk about tonight, but this is also, we start looking ahead to next year's program. And as Director of Federal Programs, of course, I put together the application for our federal monies that come in for Title I, II, and IV. So part of our stakeholders, I just want to give you information what we're doing as we're developing this and receive any feedback. Title I was a program built many, many, many years ago by the Federal Department of Education and passed down to the states, designed to give extra support in the areas of reading and math. And then they have an algorithm they develop how much money each district across the state gets eligible for. We are on the relatively lower end of the amount they issue compared to many other districts, and it's based on a level of need or what have you, and again, they compare to all the districts in the state. And in a sense, all our federal money is less than 1% of what we actually put in our district's budget for the year. But it is a help. It's meant to supplement and assist our district to provide services, again, in those areas of reading or math. We focus more so in that reading because in the elementary grades, we want to build those foundation skills before they move on to middle and high school. Title II and Title IV are a little different. There's a number of avenues you can explore, whether it be professional development, looking at areas to expand in the area of technology and things like that, but we have always focused, and with your support, focus on class size reduction at the elementary level. In that area, we use those combined funds that, again, it would help supplement our district's support our elementary teaching staff by just about one teacher's worth. That's how much money we get that we can use. And again, we always said the biggest bang for our buck was trying to keep our class sizes a little lower than a lot of our neighbors. So, unless I hear differently, that's obviously how we would plan to do. But for Title I monies, again, what we use that for is to help pay for salary and benefits for some of our Title I reading staff at both elementary schools, and also not only teachers, but also some of the support staff. The district, again, you've always supported and saw the need as well. We use some of our local dollars to fully outfit that staff. The federal dollars aren't enough to do that. And it's kind of the design of it anyway. You know, the government doesn't want you to take money that you could use locally. They just want to supplement it and help with that. Is there anyone who feel differently how we use those? I mean, the federal Title I monies are very restricted. You can use it for those two areas. But again, we figure I've always found that's our best bang for our buck. Okay. With that as well, we have, parent engagement policy talks about, making sure the parents are aware of resources and both in school and out of school that are available to them, assistance they might need as well, and again, we update those policies and publish them for parents as well. But anybody have any different feeling on Title I or Title II or IV?
Well, that's why we have you, because that's far be it for me to venture into those waters. So thank you for what you do there,
Brandy, and thanks with Jess now here, Assistant Business Manager. Jess is a tremendous help since I took this over years ago, and Brandy knows it's a labor of learning, and it's been a lot. But it's a lot of paperwork throughout the year, but especially this time of year. As soon as we get the year wrapped up, I'm full board in the federal programs mode. We've always gotten clean reviews. We get audited about every 4 to 5 years, and we are on cycle to probably have the Department of Federal Programs come in this coming year. So, hence, we want to make sure all our T's are crossed and our I's are dotted. Some of our non-public students also are eligible, depending on eligibility there, both for Title I, but also Title II and IV. We work with those institutions where we have Montoursville residents attending a non-public school who might be eligible. So, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, at this time, then, we'll move to the public comment section of the agenda items, and we invite residents and taxpayers to comment on matters of concern or deliberation before the board or any past actions, and the public is provided one unpaused 3-minute time frame to speak to us. And would you let us know who you are and where you live?
Good evening, Tina Marie Klein, 1009 Toole Street, Montoursville Borough. Once again, thank you all for being here. I noticed as Smith was taking attendance, I want to point out for the record and for the press as well that once again our superintendent is not present for a public board meeting. The last one she was present for was late September 2021.
I was happy to see she made it to graduation though, because I would have been really ticked had she not been there. Thank you.
Okay. And- okay.
Sharon Meyer, Fairfield Township. I just came tonight. I know you all are voting on the budget tonight. And I know we're looking at a tax increase. I just am trying to, when we're looking forward, we have the elementary school project coming up that's going to cost taxpayers money. We're in a time right now where tomorrow the interest rate's going to go up probably again 1%. And I know it's sort of, the wheels are already down the road, but I just am trying to figure out how we as taxpayers have to balance our budgets, correct? You have to figure out what's coming in and what's going out. And I look at ESSER funds in which we have and some of the places they're being used, and just trying to figure out, is there any possible way to reallocate some of these things so that not only the taxpayers don't have to have this tax increase, but looking down the road with elementary schools, there's going to be another increase, and it's going to be probably higher than it would have been a year ago, 2 years ago, had that decision been made on the elementary school project. I know we're in the middle of a pandemic, I get that. In regards to the elementary school project, looked over a lot of it. Unfortunately, I didn't make it to any of the open houses, but I had been in attendance at meetings when they had presented the different options. I think it comes down to the nuts and bolts of, are you keeping Loyalsock Valley open? Before anything happens, you have to make that decision. Because if you're not keeping the valley open after 5 years, please don't put more taxpayer money into it, because we're already going to have this increase. Like I said, the wheels are going, so I sort of resigned myself to the fact that we will have that. But we're also looking at these projects. And just out of regards to all the other taxpayers in this district, we need to be cognizant of what's going on, and the decision has to be made on Valley. And if Valley isn't going to stay open, don't put money into it, and you put it into later, or you do full on both. And I think that's really all I have to say. I just, I wish we could figure a way to not have an increase, because this elementary school project is coming up and it has to be dealt with, and it has to be dealt with quickly, because we don't know where these interest rates are going in the next year. And these buildings need the help and need to be renovated and brought up to speed. So that's all I got. Thanks, guys.
Okay, not seeing anyone else approaching the podium, then we'll move on now to the business manager's report.
You received copies of the treasurer's report for the period ending May 31st, 2022 for the general fund and cafeteria fund. We are submitting these to the board for your consideration of approval.
Move to approve. Second.
Any questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Is Sue voting? I didn't hear her.
Oh, aye.
Thank you.
I'll try to be faster.
Sorry, I just didn't hear you. We don't have any budgetary transfers. You've received copies of listing of invoices for the general fund and the cafeteria fund for the period ending June 14th, 2022. We are submitting these to the board for your consideration of approval and payment.
Move to approve.
Second. Questions? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask the secretary for a roll call on that.
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mr. Badger?
Yes.
Dr. Berry?
Yes.
Dr. LaCrone?
Yes.
Dr. Mathers?
Yes.
Mr. Schimmel?
Yes.
Mr. Snell?
Yes.
Mr. Ulmer?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
All right. And then we'll go on to the budget report. doesn't save it when, yeah. Okay. It closed my PowerPoint. Because it wasn't responding. I'm almost there. I just had to switch Wi-Fi's and go back and grab presentation again. There we go. Do you want me just to verbally go about, oh, here we go, okay, here we go. Okay, so this is the final budget presentation. I'm just gonna briefly go through it with you because when we met last time, we went into everything. I highlighted the changes that were made when we left here. The board asked me to take the increase down to a 0.3 and reduce the budgetary reserve by $200,000, and that's what I did. We received a few minor updates since then that I adjusted in here, and I'll go through those real quick with you. So local revenue, changing here by changing the millage rate increase, we saw a decrease in the real estate taxes. And that was our change. Our only change in the local revenue was a decrease in the changes there. State revenue.
Brenda, that was from
0.78 to 3.3. Yep. Okay. And here you'll see some changes, and this is when wages change, your FICA return, and your other income from the state, which is your PSERS return payment. Those will increase because you're paying more. Those go up. So there's where you see the increases there for those two. You see an increase of $300 and an increase of $1,300, which is an increase of overall $1,600. Federal monies. No changes here. This was put together and then we got some updates late last week, and so you'll see a little bit of change here, but it's pretty much a just more in Title IV, a little bit less in Title I and Title II. So
$1,000.
yeah, so it was just a little bit of a change, and this was already put together, so we didn't change anything here. So Other revenues, nothing there. So going on to expenditures. Here, regular programs, someone selected their benefits for next year, and it was a change in benefits, and it was a decrease. So you see a little bit of a decrease there. Nothing in special programs changed. Nothing in VOTEC changed. Nothing in other instructional programs changed. Nothing in non-pubs changed. So support services.
Before you go further, Randy, can I back you up to the state revenue?
Okay.
Those numbers you're using there are off of last year's state revenue, correct?
Yes.
So if there's an increase, like we'll say that for education this year, it'll be on top of what you have here, correct?
We're not supposed to lose any money, but it's through a formula. It gets fed through a formula, so we may not gain much. I don't know. We don't have the number. We don't have anything on it yet.
Well, I realize that because the negotiations aren't over, but.
Right. Well, usually we get projections, usually in April, and then we get another set of projections in May. We've received nothing. So, yeah, we have no idea what that's going to be. And any new money comes in, goes through a new formula. You're guaranteed what you used to get, but it doesn't mean that we're going to get anything through the new formula. It just depends on how that gets broken out, and
yeah, you're guaranteed not to lose any money because of the no fault clause.
Right. But part of that new money may go to supplement our old money that we're not getting anymore. So, okay. Pupil personnel services, no changes there. Instructional staff services, no changes. Administration services, $70 change in other purchase services. I think there was a change in some insurance or something that was for the administrative services, which changed it by $70. Pupil health, no changes there. Business services, no changes there. Operation and maintenance and plant services, you'll see that there's an increase in wages, increase in benefits, and an increase in the other purchase services. The other purchase services are insurances. So that's where you see the increase there. The $70 decrease was, now that I'm talking about the insurances, was a decrease in a different insurance that goes over there. But so the 500s are the insurances, and we did get our new updates, and we bid them out every other year. So next year they will go out. Overall, we had a 5.2% increase, and it was a minimum of a 5% increase on insurance this year because the cost of rebuilding with supply and demand has gone up significantly, that they are increasing insurance premiums. So overall, you see a $23,000 increase there. Student transportation services, nothing was changed there. Expenditures for non-instructional, you see student activities, the 500s, that's for the student activity insurance. There was an increase in that policy there. So I thought it was frozen last year, and it was frozen, and then it jumped up this year. So that's why you see the giant jump this year. And then nothing changed in the transfers in and out. This is our debt payment. And the budgetary reserve, I removed $200,000 from there. And this is just what we had in there, the 2 temporary third grade teachers. It includes 5 elementary positions and the cost of oil for next year. So the oil is kind of not really in there anymore, but that was what we're planning on probably spending that budgetary reserve for. That may change a little bit as we move through some of the stuff that we discussed earlier tonight. Summary, you see that our deficit went up to $332,778, and you can see the changes and the expenditures and the revenue, they both decreased. So that's where our fund balance is expected to be. I would suggest any excess revenues be moved over to capital projects, as we do have, some interest in doing some capital projects here, so that it can be held for a building to be renovated. And tonight we're going to adopt the final budget, and that will be at 0.3 mil increase. 0.28, I don't have the slide up here, but 0.28 does make an even no increase with the increase in Homestead. So the taxpayers that qualify for Homestead will only see a 0.02 increase in their taxes, which comes out to, I think, on an average home, about $5, if I remember correctly. So.
Randy, I have a question. On the resolution we had for the budget to pass, why doesn't that unassigned fund balance match your presentation tonight?
Because in my presentation, I had $600 going over, but in this, I'm saying, we have discussed, this has the 600 in it. And that, I'm saying, we're moving that over, that we'll do a transfer for that.
So 600 minus, or 600 off from the 4,228,000 is.
What page are you looking at? Let me.
On what? On which one?
On both. So I know exactly what numbers you're looking at.
Okay, page 2 on the resolution.
Okay.
And the last page on 16 on presentation.
Okay, because this is the fund balance for this June, and this would be the fund balance for next June. This would be June of 2023 on page 2.
Oh, okay, which is still over what the state says the fund balance should be.
Yep, and if you remember correctly, I have suggested a few times now that we should restrict some of that, or we should move some of it over to capital for our capital project, because we have a building project coming up and we need money for the building project, and that way it would be set aside for a building project so that it wouldn't be spent on other things. And I think I've made that suggestion a few times now that we need to do that.
Or not have a tax increase. That's all I got. I couldn't noise that. Maybe I do that one more time. No, that's it.
The only problem with using it to not have a tax increase is that you're using it for reoccurring expenditures, and we need to use that money for non-reoccurring expenditures. That's why I am suggesting moving it over so that it will be used on a building project, not on reoccurring things.
That's a good argument, except for the fact that there's ESER's funds being used for reoccurring expenditures, so that.
I don't agree with using anything that.
I don't agree with it either, but I'm telling you, it's fact.
Okay, but,
Well, if it was a mistake to use easer funds on a recurring expenditure, two wrongs wouldn't make a right. We don't want to use fund balance on a recurring expenditure either. So we're going to have to make that right. The fact that we use Esther's money on recurring expenses, we'll have to fix that. That's a problem. So we don't have two problems. But we had a discussion tonight, folks, in executive session. We think we know where some of that general fund balance will be spent in the next year. So we will whittle that down. And I'm all for moving some of that into capital fund. I have no problem with it. I've always thought we should be at the 8% myself. So I'm okay with that. But tonight's not the night we can act on that. If that's all.
I have, transportation contract for the specialized transportation will be coming in July for approval.
Okay. Thank you. All right, with that, now we'll move on to the superintendent's report, and we'll go around the room and see how our administrator's doing and give us a year-end report. Mr. Myers, what do you got for us?
Well, I'd like to thank the faculty, staff, and especially the maintenance and custodial staff here at the end of the year. We started our summer skills program yesterday. Maintenance and custodial staff moved monumental amount of chairs and desks from the elementary over to McCall. So they don't complain, they just do. They get in there and get the job done. So they're always on the job. So I appreciate Mr. Naffo and his crew. Sad to see Mr. Hawkins leave here on the 30th. Several, 20 to 30, how many years did he have? 30. But just a great guy. So best to him in his retirement. And I hope the faculty, staff, and students have a great summer. And we'll be ready to rock here at the end of August. 2022-23, I can't believe it. So thank you.
Mr. Farrar?
Yeah, most folks don't know, especially in the public, Mr. Hawkins, you wouldn't even know who he is. He's one of our custodians, and Mr. Hawkins, he's a great guy. When I worked over there, the highlight of the week on Friday was knowing where he and Patty were getting pizza. They are obsessed with pizza. Like, I mean, I think he's ate pizza Friday and Saturday for probably 50 years. And he can tell you who makes the best pizza in about 200 square mile radius. Seriously. Now, he's just soul of the earth. Wish them all the best. And anybody that's worked with Jack would say the same thing. And again, you never realize it, but if you were out watching any of the sporting events or seeing the grounds anywhere, whether it be snow or grass, I mean, he's a big contributor to make sure our grounds look great. So yeah, thanks again to Mr. Knopf and his crew already. I mean, as you know too, part of some of the grant money for replacing some of our technology, our smart boards. Sebastian's guys and some of the maintenance guys, they tore down the smart boards in later in less than a day. The existing ones to get ready for the new ones coming in. They were quick, they're ready to go. We're going to recycle some of those, and thanks to their crews as well. Lastly, I just report, we had a good end of the year. Did our 4th grade send off on the ball field. This is a new tradition for us, and kind of at the end of the program, our awards. And thankfully, the weather held off. We announce each of their names, and they run the bases kind of on their head. They run head to middle. So it's been a great addition, and it's nice to do it outside too. Everybody gets to, for parents who come, they can easily see the program and everything. It's just a good way to celebrate our 4th graders. Last month, you all approved the capital for the playground renovation. With that, we had, as Dr. Mathers shared, we had a local family willing to make a donation to match the PTO donation, and and we had another family kind of step in too, and look with the part you're going to spend on capital plus theirs, we're going to have a pretty extensive renovation to the playground. So thank you very much. We thank those families.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Mr. Hunter, or Hanner. I'll get that right eventually.
It's okay either way, yeah. The special education plan is being considered for approval by the board tonight. The plan has been on our website for public review since May 18th. And the school district's special education plan is an action plan that describes the programming that we offer our students with a disability that are eligible for special education services, and it covers the period of time from 2021 to 2024. The reason why it covers that period of time has to do with the pandemic and an extension that school districts were granted as a result of that. Another thing we had going on with graduation, we had 17 students that graduated that were all identified as either special needs, gifted, or receiving services through a 504 service agreement. And then the final thing that I have for tonight is there is the Black Value 17 will be hosting a Paraprofessional Conference this summer, and the information regarding that conference has gone out to all of our paraprofessionals, so they'll have the opportunity to register for that conference. It will be a virtual conference this year, and it's scheduled for August 11th. There will be a keynote speaker, as well as they'll have an opportunity to kind of look through a menu of professional development trainings that will be going on, that they can pick which trainings will best suit their professional needs. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Termina.
We had graduations. Made it through. 4 did not make it, and there's a plan in place for all of those students to get their diplomas here eventually. So we will have.
Can we announce the dates of
all of them?
tours? I saw coming in today
Tours are
that it was on the valleys.
Yeah, and it's on a splash screen on our website, and I guess we should set out a school messenger notice on that too.
Yeah, we will. We have to get it on Facebook still, and a couple other places. I think we set 27th.
Yes.
At 27th, 28th. 27th is there's a 10 a.m. and a 6 p.m. tour. That's at the Valley, and the 28th is at Lighter. You have to be a district resident, and you have to register for those tours, so we can plan on how many are coming. If we're overwhelmed on those 2 dates, we'll add as we need to, but we're going to start with those, and we'll go from there.
Okay. Thank you. Sebastian, do you have anything for us? You're not Mr. Piper yet. I'm the age of 50.
I defer Sebastian. No, I mean, we had a successful end of the year. We got all of our devices collected for the kids. Other than the ones that are participating in our summer programs, will be collecting this later. As Darren said, we've already started working on some of our summer projects, getting some of the old boards out of our classrooms, preparing for the new boards. We have a whole lot of other maintenance projects scheduled, and we also have some PD scheduled later on in the summer for our teachers, and some also during our September in-service as well, so we'll be busy.
Okay. My only question is whether I have to write another check for a lost charger. How does a kid lose a charger? I don't know.
Let's hope not.
Mr. Naffo?
I just want to piggyback on what Darren said, that Mr. Hawkins is going to be a great loss to the district, myself, to everybody that even deals with the gentleman. He's a great guy, he's been around for many years, and we're going to miss him. And we're the same thing as him, we're getting our maintenance stuff going, and cleaning, and moving, and cleaning, and more moving. We'll be ready.
Good, thanks.
I have a question, and maybe I should have asked this question during the presentation of bills, but the Cochlear Americas, they do have to do with hearing aids. And there was a charger, there was 2 chargers that was ordered.
That doesn't come through me, I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Through special ed.
Yeah, we do have students that need various tools to help them hear. So that was what that was for, is chargers for those students.
Okay, and that's the district's responsibility?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's all I wanted to know. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, I guess with that, we're ready to move on to the agenda items and board with the general items G1 through G19, I would like to do them in one fell swoop. Take a moment, walk through them, see if there's some reason you'd like a separation, or you need a separation perhaps, and if the board consents, I'd like to do G1 through G19, but let's take a moment and scan through them.
I would like an explanation more detailed on G6. To the benefit.
Yeah, we can get that. I mean, when we do the motion in a second, we can get the explanations on any of those. Although that maybe might present a problem if someone wants to vote no on one item, I suppose. So
that we pull it out.
Yeah. So what would that be, Dottie? Which one again?
G6.
All right. Let's then we'll G6.
G6.
Okay. We will separate G6 so we can have discussion on that. And that probably makes sense to separate whatever we would have, especially if there's a potential to change a vote.
And G8 I'm not available for.
Right, you just go on, we just go on as the galleys.
Okay.
Yeah, because no one,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, board, we have a separation of G6, which means we have G1 through G19. Any thoughts on any other separations? If you don't think there's anything would make you vote against an item, let's go ahead and I'll ask for a motion to approve G1 through G19 less G6. So we have a second. Questions on any of the items?
I have a question on G14. Are those figures correct? Because, and the only reason why I bring this up is because there's a decrease in cost, and you don't very often get a decrease in cost for insurance. So I'm curious if those numbers are
For what? For the workers' comp?
yeah, G14.
Yes, G14 is correct.
Okay, so there was a decrease on it.
Yes, if you read further on, it says our modification changed and it decreased. So we had fewer incidents. So it goes based on your incidents reporting. And it's a 3-year average.
But we also had more people covered under workman's comp than are going to have more people covered under workman's comp than last year because we're going to have more employees.
No, that's not.
Does it go by the number of employees?
Yeah, but it's a large bracket number.
Oh.
Ron, were you thinking that the cost is going up?
Well, I wanted to make sure it wasn't, that there wasn't a mistake there with the motion.
No.
Okay. And the other question I have is on G19. At $315,000, that's for a new math curriculum, correct?
And it also has 7 years of materials all included.
Okay.
But we're only voting on the review process tonight.
Yep.
We're voting on the review process, but we're also voting on the cost of it, correct?
That will come back to you for approval.
Okay.
And it will come back at a figure not to exceed $315,000.
My question was on G6, just kind of.
Well, we're on G1 through G19.
Where are we?
We're in G1 through G19 less G6. We'll get G6 next. So, any more questions on G1 through 19 less 6?
Wait, oh, less 6, yeah,
Yeah,
never
yeah.
mind, I got you.
Okay. All right. Hearing no more questions, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. And Sue, we didn't hear you?
I said aye.
Okay, thank you, sorry. All right, G6, do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
In a second?
Second.
Okay. All right, your questions, Dottie?
Okay, my question is, this is supposed to enable us to get support staff when we can, and at supposedly a cheaper rate than through the IU. But I'm not understanding, on page 12, it gives the pay rate, and then it gives a discounted bill rate that's more. I don't know what those numbers are telling me.
What I can talk about is the actual position itself. So Educational Staffing Solutions is, in fact, it's a organization that helps to staff positions. And what we have is we have a student that the previous school year was in a more restrictive placement, and he is actually going to be coming back to our school district. And in that placement, he had a one-on-one paraprofessional working with him. So this is a one-year contract, because we don't anticipate that student requiring those services any more than 1 year.
So this is actually, we're voting to use one person from this?
Yes,
Okay, so it's not something we're gonna use per diem?
correct.
Oh,
We're doing
okay,
it for
I
1 year
misunderstood
at
that
this
then.
point, yeah.
Okay,
And that would keep us from having to hire and furlough somebody.
okay, I got you now, thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, moving on now to the personnel. I'll combine 3 and 4, but we'll go P1, P2 separately. So P1 is approval of the additions to professional staff. We have Wendy Baker as school psychologist and Haley Potter as special ed K to 8. And you see their salaries and effective dates listed there, and replacements. So do we have a motion for P1?
Move to approve.
Second?
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. P2, then we have the approval of an addition to the administrative team, Matthew Johnson as the principal at the high school. And you see the rate of pay and effective date and replacement for Mr. Tormina, of course. So do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions?
Yes. I was concerned about Mr. Johnson using this position for a stepping stone into a superintendent's position. And so I asked our superintendent to find out what the aspirations for the future, what his plans are for the future. She did not get back with me. So I'm kind of curious. The principal at the high school is an important position, and for to hire somebody that will only be there a couple years and then leave for another position, it concerns me, because we have 4 grades in our high school, and we all know Mr. Taramino. He was personable towards the kids, and they got to know him and trust him and share with him, and to have somebody that would only stay a couple years and move on, I think it's bad for our students.
That's a difficult question. Anybody that's in an admin position is looking to further themselves. What you had here was rare, 15 years. That's not the norm. Principals do cycle in and out. It's not,
We're not
what
normal.
you see here is not, it's not normal.
That's what he's saying.
You beat me to that one.
But I can tell you, with him going through this process, he's committed to being, you talk about future, Montoursville area high school principal. Will that change in 3 to 5 years? It could, if a better offer comes along. I can't promise or guarantee, I don't think he's here, I don't think he can do that either. But I know his heart and his mind is set on being here if he's approved tonight, and he'll be a welcome addition to the team, and maybe he becomes abnormal as well and sticks around for a very long time. But it's hard, especially in this market. It was difficult finding somebody, and we have work to do to retain people if that day would come. So that's how I can answer that. I can't guarantee.
Okay. All right. And avoid getting too deep into the personnel discussions. Unless there's another item of necessary discussion, I would ask for a motion to approve that. We already did that, sorry. So you got me sidetracked on that. Okay, in that case, I'll ask for all in favor, say aye. There we go. Aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Aye. Ron? Okay, all right. Okay, ayes have it. And with that, we'll move over to P3 and P4.
And Mr. Johnson is here this evening.
Oh, Mr. Johnson, wow.
He's the guy overdressed in
Would you like to come forward and just tell us a bit about yourself?
Oh, goodness. I'm fine staying back here. No, I'll answer that question directly. You know, my track record of Woolsac is I spent 18 years there as a teacher, and I know one of the questions that Superintendent Basin had asked me is like, why you leave Woolsac? And that goes along with the longevity piece, so I'll get to that very quickly. At 18, you kind of leave the nest. We have all these seniors that just graduated, and they're at that critical point where they've gone through their upbringing and they're ready to strike out a little bit and do their own thing. I've been grown for 18 years at Woolsac as a teacher and as administrator, and it was a hard decision to walk away from home, but home's still home. My wife teaches there, my kids still go there. With that being said, I don't see anything as a stepping stone. Wherever I go, I root and I grow. I'm all in wherever I am. I was all in 18 years ago at Woolsac when I started, and I'll be all in for you guys. I'm incredibly humbled and blessed to be even given the opportunity to join such a long track record of success and stability. I only want to further that, and that was a lot of the conversations I had with Mr. Jeremina, is how do we sustain that stability, because he has been here, and it is rare. I hope to be part of that rarity, but I appreciate the vote of confidence tonight, and you're more than welcome to hit me up with any questions if you have any. I know that's not much of my background, but I wanted to kind of address that piece at least. But
appreciate that. And if you'll be around for the meeting, well, any members that want to say hello to you, we'll drop by and shake your hand.
Absolutely, I'm happy to hang out.
Okay, we're on to P3 and P4. If we could approve them together, we have an FMLA leave request, and then some coaching changes in P4. So I ask for a motion to approve. Move to approve. Second. Any questions on that? Okay, hearing none. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, opposed? Okay, ayes have it. And we can move on now to transportation, and we can put T1 through 4 together, unless you think that maybe you could, vote for one of them, but not, all of them or something like that. So if you're okay with all 4 being together, take a gander at it. If you need to separate for some reason, say so. And if you don't, I'll entertain a motion to approve T1 through T4 combined.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a second. Any questions on any of the items?
The only questions I have is T2, T3, and T4. What, no, no. All I wanna know is, are these increases over the previous year? The
Oh,
current
I
year?
thought they usually put them on there. Yes, they are. I don't have that with me either. I know I don't, cause the folders, I know exactly where the folder is. I'll have to send them out to you. Usually she puts on there the prior year, and I didn't catch that she didn't have those on there. Sorry about that. Yes, they're all increases.
Do you have a sense of whether they were typical, or were they maybe a little abnormal?
Well, a
or?
lot of them never increased for years and years and years, and now they're seeing the fuel and the staffing and all of those, so now we're getting some increases. They weren't huge, they were...
Could I table the vote on them until we get the information?
Let me look for it, because I don't think we should table it. Let me see if I can't find it in last year's real quick for you. Sorry about that. She usually puts them in there.
I mean, I know the first two numbers, the inter-district was $100, okay? And I know the second line was 200, rather than, he's going to...
Right, and it was $30 an hour, and I think it was $3.40 a mile for T2, but I'd have to that's what I want to check. And I know T4 was $148.50. I know that for sure. I don't know what T3 was, as I'm trying to look. Oh my goodness. Right here. All right. So, Geisinger Transportation was $330 last year, and I think it's $410.
Yeah.
What was it, 330?
330. Okay, so, and T2 was $100 per trip. $345 was the mile, with a minimum of $200 per trip and $30 an hour. Okay.
Understandably, pretty good hikes. Now, it's conceivable that, well, we won't even speculate on fuel prices.
Yeah, but we're supplementing fuel prices.
Not for these, we're not.
Oh, we're not?
No.
No.
These are not part of their contract. These are different agreements.
And the Geisinger one has been covered by a grant the past 2 years.
And I think we have another grant we're using for it.
We have another one coming from First Community Foundation Partnership of Pennsylvania.
Okay. Any other discussion or question on these T1 through T4? All right, hearing none, and I'll ask for all in favor. Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Sue? Okay, Sue's that an aye? Okay. All right, then opposed. Ayes have it. And budget and finance, we'll take them one at a time. So BF1 is approval of the final general fund budget in the amount of $32,753,409 for the fiscal year 2022-2023, including the salary and work schedules as proposed as an attachment. And I would ask for a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any questions?
I don't have any questions, I have comments, and quite a few of them. We all need to take into consideration what this inflation is doing. It's up 8.5%. That affects everybody. That affects the taxpayers. The Dow is down 6,000 points in the last 7 months. That affects retired people that have 401ks that are losing thousands upon thousands of dollars. Food prices are skyrocketing. Gas prices have doubled. And this board agreed to help our bus drivers when the price of fuel got over $5 a gallon. Who is going to help our property owners when they have to drive to the gas station and pay the high prices and not have anybody helping them with their gas prices? I also want you to take into consideration the school district's employees, because we have a lot of employees at the school district that are making between anywhere from around $10 an hour to $15 an hour. They got to pay them gas prices too. This 0.3 increase that the district is asking for doesn't sound like a lot for people that's making a decent wage, but not everybody out there makes a decent wage. And we got to think about them as property owners. You know, $5 here or $5 there doesn't sound like much, but when you're already struggling at the current rate, that $5 here and $5 there means a lot to people out there. So I just want you, when you vote on this, if you vote for this increase, just remember those people out there, because I definitely am going to remember them. Thank you.
I'll just make a comment that I am thinking about the people out there, and when this was brought to us for 0.7 whatever increase, I said no. You know, but we also have to be fiscally responsible and to keep us solvent and to prevent us losing programs, the district to lose programs in the future if we don't. It's a tough decision, but you know, if I vote for this, Ron, I am not saying putting anything against the taxpayers. I am thinking of the taxpayers. That's why I wouldn't vote for the higher tax rate millage increase that we were asked to do previously.
Well, Donna, if we didn't have a 10.06 percent unassigned fund balance, maybe I'd think a little bit differently.
Yeah, it's a tough decision. I can't deny that.
Okay, hearing no more comments, Secretary, would you call a roll on that?
Mr. Albert?
Yes.
Mr. Badger?
Yes.
Dr. Berry?
Yes.
Dr. LaCrone?
Yes.
Dr. Mathers?
Yes.
Mr. Schimmel?
Yes.
Mr. Ulmer?
Yes.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Oh, Mr. Snell. I'm sorry, I moved you.
No.
I deleted you already, so I didn't have that mistake. I'm sorry.
You just didn't want to hear me vote no.
I already marked you.
It's assumed.
I hear it in my sleep.
I'm sorry.
All right. Moving on to BF2, approval of the homestead and farmstead exclusion resolution for 2022. Do we have a motion on that?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions or discussion on that? Okay. Just now that maybe a little history for the folks that are here. That used to be funded 80%. It's now funded at 100%, which means that there's about a 0.28 mil that actually is an effective, not a reduction, but a coverage of what they would have been paying in taxes. Now, because of the farmstead exclusion, they now have 0.28 more mills to work with. Word that for me properly, will you? You're the
Okay, so if you look at your tax bill, and you are approved for the homestead, farmstead exclusion, it's, what happens when you buy your house, you get this little postcard in the mail that says, oh, we're gonna send you this in December to fill out. They send you another piece of paper in December to fill out. It has to be turned in by March of that year, and then you get the homestead credit. Previously, that credit was right around $130 on your tax bill. With it now being funded higher, it is, oh, I have it here. I don't see it right here, but it's right around $170. So you're getting more of a credit on your tax bill this year for your homestead, as long as you qualify for it and you filled out the paper. Now, if you've owned your home for several years, you don't have to. You're not refilling it out. So you fill it out once you purchase your home. So now, if you buy another property, you may have to fill that out again.
Okay.
And
All right.
just think, with the way the economy is, how much that $40 could help some people.
So what does that mean, Brandy, for someone whose home, let's say, is assessed at $125,000? That's probably about the average home in our district?
129.
Everyone gets the same credit unless you're assessed lower.
But in looking at our tax increase at 0.3 of a mil.
It's 0.02 increase, really.
It's about a wash for the $129,000 home assessed
That's
value.
Yeah.
That's what my question is.
Yeah, it's about a wash.
It comes out to maybe, it's not quite $5 a year.
Yeah.
So for the average,
Home.
let's say, homeowner in our district, they're going to see an increase of $5 a year on their tax bill.
Yes.
Okay. And typically, if I'm looking at individuals that maybe aren't, are more economically strapped, they may be more representative of those that would have homes in that range of $125,000 and lower. So it would seem that this...
More than half of our properties are in that range.
More than half.
Yeah, I think we calculated it at the last time. I think it was...
The board is being very aware of, and it's a unique opportunity this year in that the homestead credit is being increased, and that balances out the property tax increase that we have approved.
Yeah.
Now, just keep in mind, and I brought it up in the last board meeting, that the only reason why that is down to 100, it's actually, I think 129 is the average. And I brought up the point that there's 3 trailer courts in our district. Well, after I got to thinking about it, there's at least 5 trailer courts in our school district. And those trailers that are in a trailer court are assessed lower, and they bring the average assessment down. For houses in our district, you're not going to find a lot of them that are under 129.
More than half of them are in our district. We went over that last time.
Yeah.
I can pull it back up here again if you want the numbers again.
are you talking about how,
Houses, yeah.
you're excluding the trailers?
Yeah, a lot of trailers don't even qualify because their assessment's not even high enough. So if we look at, let me find it here. You have to give me a few minutes to get it around because I have to.
Just think if we wouldn't have passed for a tax increase, there's people that would be getting their tax bill and see that it went down from last year because of the homestead, farmstead exclusion resolution.
True.
Their tax bill would be going down.
Yeah, you're right.
I can't separate out just the trailers from like just the lots that are just like 1 acre lots and that. But you're looking at, and this is going to be over the number that we have. At most 158 trailers. That's showing right here. And, but we have, let's see. $2,174 properties at the average or below, and 150 of them, 150 whatever I said, are the trailers that you had asked for. And we have a total of, I can't get this to stop. 3,823 properties that qualify. And that's if if they got the postcard and they filled the paperwork out.
I think most people did.
So.
Okay. And if anybody wants to cover this kind of data deep dive with Brandy, please schedule an appointment to go in and see her. It's interesting, but I think well, let's move along and I'll call for a vote on this BF2. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay, hearing none. Ayes have it, unanimous. All right, BF3, and we'll put BF3 and 5 together, signatories and institutions. So a motion for BF3 and BF5.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, and any questions on that? BF3 and BF5 combined? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, no, opposed, sorry, Sue. Opposed? Okay, here. Ayes have it. No, your aye on the approving it. Okay, BF4, approval to award bids for the 2022-2023 fiscal year. We have the paper supplies and athletic supplies, each in the $29,000 range. Do we have a motion to approve? BF4. Somebody? Anybody?
Move to approve.
All right.
Second.
Okay. Any questions on that? Does that have to be roll call, or is that okay with us?
No, that's fine. That's just
Okay,
fine.
all right.
That says award bids. Does that mean was it put out for bids?
Yes, they were put out for bids.
Okay.
Just curious, is this a big increase from last year?
Paper is not, actually, I don't think athletics was either, but athletics is hard to judge because supplies are different each year, so you really can't look at, really meet that because, you know, it's different things being purchased because they're more on a cycle. But paper, this bid that we got for paper was, we only had 2 companies that bidded for paper. And this one was like $10,000 less than the other one, and it was really more in line with what we're kind of used to. It's a little bit high, but it's not like as high. And they've been calling almost every day. They want to make sure we get our paper. So they've been trying to work everything out with us with getting it, and we've talked to Joe on a couple things because it's going to be hard to get paper this year too.
Okay. Okay, on BF4 then, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, that completes our agenda items, and we'll move on now to other reports for the committee reports. And Dr. Mathers, would you walk us through the committee reports?
Okay, PSBA, I don't have anything to report, except that I am unable to attend that conference in November because my son's getting married that weekend. So if anybody even wants to attend virtually, you don't have to go down to Harrisburg to attend. You can do it virtually. Just let us know. Dr. McCrone, anything on policy?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Dr. Beery, anything on IU?
I left my notes at home, so no, sorry.
Okay. Mr. Schimmel?
We meet this Thursday, so nothing to report.
Mr. Almer, can we have all 3 of your reports together? Do you have anything on Memorial Gardens?
Memorial Gardens, fundraising is moving along. I believe we're at about the 31,000 mark. We just started canvassing some of the potential donors, so my hope is that we'll continue to move forward. I have noted that there's been several board members contribute, and I thank you for that. And I encourage those that haven't, look at your budgets and give us a consideration. Budget, I have nothing to add. Foundation, nothing to add as well.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Albert, Building and Grounds.
Yeah, I've got a question for Joe. I had someone approach me about the grass. I think it was over at the middle school where it was really brown and, you know, because there was a lot of it. Is there anything we can do, like, when in those times that we can have like a pull behind, you know, that collects it, you know, the grass, just keep it looking a little bit nicer?
You know, some of those instances you talk about is when it gets real wet, real
Yeah.
hot. At the very beginning of the season, he has a tough time getting on a lot of it, and when it does, it just happens.
Right.
If we mowed it 3 or 4 times like we do at the high school, there's just too much grass.
Right, yeah, and I relay that, but I'm just passing it along.
Like I said, it can look beautiful, but when weed sticks up, that's when it's a problem. So we'll get it.
That's it.
Okay, and Mr. Badger, extracurricular?
Nothing at this time?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mathers. All right, with that, we'll move on now to the final public comment section of the evening. And again, one 3-minute unpaused time frame for you. Tell us who you are and what do you have for us. Okay, seeing no one approaching the podium, we'll move now to an adjournment. Would someone like to make a motion for that effect? Okay, we can sit here all night. We have a motion by Dr. Mathers. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, meeting is adjourned. Thank you. I won't be heading